Are you ready for it? Are you ready for it? Knew he was a killer. First time that I saw him.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together for
Yeah.
Ronald.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the eighth wonder of the world, the flow of the century, always timeless. Oh, thank you for coming out tonight. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us. We appreciate that.
Welcome and thanks for joining us on this exciting day today. We are happy to host Scott Wilburn, the creator and owner of Skywash Innovations. Today marks their soft opening, and we are excited to have Scott join us from his location in the Northern Virginia area. Hi, Scott. Thanks for joining me today.
Hey Matt, good afternoon. I'm here at our location in Northern Virginia, and I'm here with the Skywash team, and we're super excited to announce Skywash Innovations to the community. Today marks an important milestone for the company as we kick off our soft launch of our services out to the community. I want to thank you and your team for putting this together and having us on your show today. Thank you very much, Matt.
Great. I had a look at your website and social media before our podcast today. It looks like Skywash Innovations provides exterior washing services for both commercial and residential. But before we get into the details of your services, can you tell me a little bit about yourself and what inspired you to start Skywash Innovations?
Yeah, so thanks. So a little bit about me. Born and raised in the Northern Virginia area. I've also had my career here in the area as well, up and down the Dulles Technical Corridor. I've had a 30-year career in the software and engineering space where I've managed large teams across the globe, and we've developed, we've designed, deployed, operated, and managed very large software systems for many global companies around the globe. It's been a very exciting career. I've been very fortunate to, work with some of the best, some of the brightest in the industry. I've made a lot of great friends, great partners, wonderful customers and clients all over the globe, and just super excited to have that fortunate career. As I approached the 30-year mark, I decided that I wanted to go out, step outside, and either look at acquiring a business, partnering with somebody to start or operate a business, or doing something on my own. And I sort of stumbled on this concept that we have here at Skywash, which is really a combination of some incredible things. We are combining some really innovative and advanced technologies. We've got a box of chemistry and science behind us, and really we're leveraging that along with the team here at Skywash to address really what's not too sexy of a solution, but it's a critically important solution for the area, and that is exterior washing of commercial structures and residential structures as well. So that's really what led us to create the Skywash Innovations team, and we're, this is a big milestone for us. We're super excited about, the work that's gone into this, where we are today, and really what the next few months and several years hold for the team.
Wow, that's pretty incredible, Scott. Thank you for sharing that with us. This is an exciting time for you and the team. The business has a clear focus on commercial properties such as Class A office space, hospitals, data centers, large retail, and similar projects. That's interesting. Why did you choose to specialize in these complex, large-scale facilities?
Yeah, thanks. So the DC area is a very special area. When it comes to the commercial properties and some of the unique characteristics about those properties, it's amazing what you find out here. We have everything from, Class A, beautifully designed and innovative and modern designs in office space, to data centers and medical facilities, large retail, et cetera. And when we think about Skywash and how we design Skywash, we really focused on building a company around tackling those complex projects. And of course, we've got some incredible partners in the industry that have spent years and years developing and innovating on products that can assist and do those jobs for us, as well as the chemistry and the science behind us. If we take a look at a couple of those projects, let's take hospitals for example. Hospitals prioritize two very important factors. One is safety, patient safety, the other being patient privacy, right? So when we are cleaning those facilities, which operate 24/7, they don't close. You know, we have the tools, the equipment, the operational processes to clean those in such a way where we are respecting patient privacy. And of course, we're doing it in a very safe manner. We don't have people at elevation. We don't have people off roofs, ladders, lifts, et cetera. So we can operate in a very, very safe way. You know, if you look at another property type, let's take data centers, for example. You know, data centers, I mean, we're in the Northern Virginia area. Just about everybody in the area knows there's a data center everywhere. But there's actually there's over 550 of them. That's a lot of data centers. And they all have one thing in common, security, right? These are highly secure facilities. They're fenced off. They have a large physical footprint, but you know, not a lot of property behind them. So you don't see teams of people. They're not busy places by design, and that's where we fit, you know, perfectly. You know, we can come in. We've got a small footprint. We're not bringing lifts. We're not bringing ladders. We're bringing technology. We're bringing science and chemistry, and we're in and out of these places, you know, very quickly. You know, our pilots, our ground techs can do about 400 feet per minute for a small crew. And we can be, you know, in and out of those properties very quickly. So, you know, it makes a lot of sense for us to go after, you know, the unique characteristics of the DC area. And there's lots more, from large retail to places of worship. But, you know, we just really like the commercial space. We're attracted to it. You know, they're highly specialized. They can be complex. And that's what we built Skywash, you know, to address. And we're really excited about that.
You mentioned to me earlier that you and your team spent months designing, building, and taking delivery of your equipment after settling on this line of business. What level of capital investment and commitment has this required? And how does this equipment make Skywash different from competitors?
Yeah, great question, Matt. So, you know, when I got started to put together some due diligence frameworks for looking at different industries or different businesses that we were looking at, you know, one of the criteria is that we just wanted to elevate barrier to entry was on the investment side. So that was a very deliberate, you know, a deliberate decision on behalf of me and the folks that I was working with. And there's a really good reason for that. We are choosing to compete in a very complex space. Not everybody could do it. We had to spend some money and make some investments to be able to address that space, to be able to compete in that space, and quite frankly, be able to win in that space. We feel we've got the best partners over at the Lucid team building the equipment for us. We also believe we've got the best partners. This is Midwest Washing Equipment Group out in Indiana. We worked with them for months to all design the insides of what we needed that to look like. But yeah, we're comfortable. We're happy about the level of investments that we made to get this going. And you know, by combining what Skywash has done, by looking at what the companies like Lucid and Midwest have done, you know, this is you know, it's a very innovative field. This is a new application of some really great technology, and we're happy to play in that space, and we look to compete and win in that space.
Your client list is impressive. Hospitals, data centers, hotels. These require specialized care and high-level operational security. How do you ensure your processes and training meet the rigorous standards of these commercial clients?
Yeah, great question. So, yes, there are very specific operational requirements to be able to conduct safe flight operations in the DC area. You know, I'll start with our drone pilots or our UAS pilots. FAA requires that any operator of drone equipment of this size is licensed under Part 107. You know, at Skywash, we hire Part 107 licensed pilots, but we have a minimum before those pilots can operate as pilot in command for any job site. We will put them in positions like as a surveillance pilot, or they'll fly under the command of a pilot in command. But once they achieve those level of hours, then they'll be able to operate, you know, as pilot in command. The airspace around here is quite restricted. We operate in what's called the SFRA. That's really just highly restricted airspace. So there's a lot of requirements to be able to operate in that airspace. We also have Class B or Class Bravo, and Class C and Class D airspace around here. So we train our pilots, our ground techs, our policies and operational procedures are built around being able to conduct safe flight within the area that we work and that we clean. So yeah, we again, flying unmanned aerial systems in the DC airspace is complicated. The jobs that we go after are complicated, but as I mentioned, we feel that we've built the right company, we've got the right equipment, we've got the right excellence in our operations to be able to, exceed the requirements that our customers have of us.
You mentioned taking on residential homes primarily to keep crews busy. How do you manage the perception of quality and maintain your commercial-grade focus when also serving the residential market?
Yeah, residential, great. You've heard me talk a lot about commercial and some of the commercial projects, and that's not to say that we don't do residential work. We certainly do residential work. What you'll often find, though, is we target more complicated residential projects, and three come to mind when I think about residential. Number one is in this area, a lot of people have made investments in solar. Being on a roof is already inherently dangerous. When you put solar equipment up there, it makes it that much more hazardous. We can come up there, we can clean those, we can clean the solar panels with the right solutions very, very quickly and of course very safely. And you get more efficiency out of clean panels, so it pays for itself over time. The other thing that we'll see in some housing structures could be very land or properties that's sloped. And it's just not safe to put ladders, on the back of those properties. And again, we can come up there. We don't need anybody on the ground. We can do it very quickly with our equipment, and it's just safer to operate that way. The other, which is again unique to this area, which is we unfortunately live in a lot of airspace. So we've got a lot of towns and communities around Dulles. And unfortunately, you got a lot of petrochemicals that come out of the exhaust. So you've got Jet A exhaust. It's got petroleum-based compounds in there, and they land on our roofs. They land on our cars. Cleaning those roofs, will prolong the life of those roofs. Anybody that's had to replace a roof, that's a pretty substantial investment. By having, the Skywash team come out, do your roof every couple of years, that will really prolong the investment that you have in the roof. So, that's another unique characteristic about having homes in the area. And again, those are some examples of some residential work that we think we're perfect for.
What are the key competitive advantages that Skywash Innovations brings to its target market?
Yeah, certainly. From a competitive advantage standpoint, Skywash Innovations brings a lot to the table that I think, allows us to really compete and win in a lot of these specialized projects. We've talked about a few today, but really there's three things that we sort of live and breathe by. We're definitely faster. We've got the technology and the science that allows us to be faster in our cleaning operations. We are safer. We've got boots on the ground. We're not elevated, and that's a huge safety, advantage that we have with people that are, elevated doing their work. And we honestly like to think of ourselves a little bit smarter. And when I mean that in the sense that there's a lot that goes into planning a complex cleaning operation. So, we do, 60% of the planning is done up front, and then we're executing our plans when we're on site. So safety is our core competency, and, we live by that. And, it's also important to recognize that being in the DC area where we have some of the world's best technology in innovative companies here, the Skywash brand and the Lucid brand, we'd like to think that we represent that brand, and we want to be as forward-thinking and as innovative as we can to leverage all these technologies to address what are very common problems out there.
Can you walk us through one of the new business processes you've implemented that you believe will significantly improve efficiency or customer experience?
Oh, fantastic question. Sure. Yeah, I would say, one, everything we do here is driven by operational excellence. But I would say one thing that you may not find other companies doing that we do, and this comes back from, I don't know, my pilot experience and what I was trained as a pilot, is all the pre-work that goes into planning such a complex project. Yes, we have very large complex systems in the air, so we've got aviation at play. So we take a lot of those concepts and expand on that. So one thing we do here is we'll meet at one of the offices in the shop here, and we'll go over all the output from, again, the tools that we use to analyze projects, analyze properties, understand what our risks are, and we'll analyze all that, and we'll plan the flight down to where we're going to start, where we're going to finish, how much do we expect to spray, what are the risks in the areas that we're cleaning, and even to what fluids are we going to use and how much of it. We carry hundreds and hundreds of gallons of different types of fluids, raw water, clean water, et cetera, and we plan all that out. And then at the end of the day, we measure it. And when we come back, we take a look at it and we'll sit down and we'll review. Did we have any new risks that came up that we didn't expect or anticipate? Were some risks not realized? Were there other things? Was the usage of what we had planned and expected different? Was our cleaning performance different? So, we take all of the inputs, we take all of the outputs, and the whole point of that is to really get that feedback loop into our process to make sure we're lean and we're efficient. And there's one thing in the industry that you might hear in the scuba diving world. I'm not in that world, but it is plan the dive the plan. And that's exactly what we do here. We do a lot of planning. We get it down on paper, and when we're on site, we are executing that plan and monitoring it very carefully.
Scott, I want to thank you and the team for your time today, and congratulations on achieving this milestone. I hope to have you and your team back in the studio with us when your team picks up operations in the spring. Thank you, and to everyone out there.
Well, Matt, I just want to say a huge thank you to you and your team for allowing us to talk about Skywash, introduce our company and services, and really celebrating this milestone with us. We very much appreciate it. For those of you who have joined us today, thanks for sticking around and learning more about what Skywash does and the journey that we've been on and the journey that is ahead of us. We're really excited about it. And thanks for celebrating that with us. We'd love to hear from you. Find us on social media, reach out to the website, give us a call. We'd love to talk with you. And one last thing, we'll be doing this again in the March timeframe where the weather's a little nicer. We'll get everybody out here. We've got some good music. We'll have good food, good fun. We'll demonstrate this amazing technology and walk through the equipment, and of course, meet the rest of the team. So we'd love to see you. Mark your calendars. We'll be in touch, and we wish you a very happy holiday season. Thanks from the Skywash team. We'll see you later.
Thank you for coming out tonight. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us.